Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is the next video in the live conversation series with a UiPath aspirant. In the previous videos in the series, we tried to answer the basic RPA queries which a beginner has, such as what is the kind of project, where should I study the robotics framework, which certificate to do, where should I get the tutorial. Post that, we tried to understand what are the different components, studio, orchestrator and assistant. Then we looked deep dive into the type of workflows. Post that, we see what are the variables type, and in middle we also have seen a step-by-step demonstration on how to build a shopping robot, and we also seen what are the different types of arguments we can have, how can we pass the data across the XAMLs, what is the in, out and direction. So all this playlist is available in the channel. I'll put the link in the description and you can refer that. Now let us see the agenda for this video. In this video, we are going to discuss about the different type of control flow activities which are available in UiPath Studio. We are going to see how we can use the assign activity. Post that, we are going to see what are the different kinds of loops we can have, such as do while. We are also going to see how we can use the for each loop. What is the importance of break? When should we use delay? And all of this is explained with the help of step-by-step demonstration and example. And in case if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe to the channel to watch more videos like this. Let's get started. Are you able to see my screen? Is it visible?
Yeah, very
So
well.
yeah, so
Yeah.
this I am in UiPath Studio, and let us see the agenda for this video. Today we are going to discuss about the control activities. So the control flow activities we are going to discuss about. So these are called the control flow activities. Okay. So I think most of these activities you are already aware of, but whichever you are not aware of, we'll discuss those. Okay. So where do we get this
Mm.
control flow activities? So if you go to the activities and type here control, okay, so you will find some of the activities. This one, break, continue, do while, for each, and all these are the activities which are provided by UiPath to control the flow of the execution. So whenever you are writing a big automation, so how do you control the flow, right? So we have seen in the flow chart, in the flow decision also we were able to control, right? So
Yeah.
these are some of the activities which are provided by UiPath we are going to discuss today, and these are called the control flow activities. Okay, so let us start by looking at the first activity, which is called assign. So now I have a UiPath Studio in front of me, and we have an activity called assign, and I think we are using, this is the most used activity in UiPath. Now, what do you understand by the assign activity? Can you tell me? You have been uh, looking UiPath. So when we exactly use the assign activity?
Um, an activity. I think when you are trying to assign a value to a variable. I don't know whether I'm right.
Right,
Or
correct,
match
correct. So right, so the name itself says whenever you have to assign something, right? So this is the source, sorry, this is the destination and this is the source. For example, if I
Mm,
create a variable, let's say I create a variable called str underscore name. Okay, and now
mm,
if I type here assign str name and I give a name called UiPath, right? So now what we are doing here, we are assigning the value UiPath to this variable. Okay, so whenever we have
yeah.
to assign something to something, we use the assign activity. In the assign activity, this is the destination and this is the source. Okay, so
Okay.
you get this. So this value, now what, whenever I run this automation, what will happen? So I will show you what exactly this thing does. Okay, so let me go here and do it like this. Okay, I will put a debugger here. Debugger is just a breakpoint. Okay, now let me debug the file. Now we have created a variable called str underscore name. So now if you will see, what is the value of str underscore name? It is null,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Because we have not
Mm,
assigned anything to this value. But as soon as I use as an assign activity, let me just execute this. Now this value is assigned to this variable. So when we use assign activity, whenever we have to assign a value to a variable, or whenever we have to do a large operation and we have to get some value. So you just treat this as simple. This is the destination and this is the source. And assign activity is just to assign a value to a variable. That's it. That is the simple plain purpose of the assign activity. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now let us talk about the loops one. Loop, let us park the loop for a while. Let me talk about the delay activity first. Okay. Now, assuming that you are writing any automation. Okay. So let's say you are writing on automation to open the any website or any application. Let's say I have to open the paint application, but the paint application is taking some time to open. Okay, assuming that it takes 5 seconds, 6 seconds, 7 seconds to open, and you want to pause your automation for some time. Because what happens in UiPath, whenever I put some activity, so I put a write line and I put a write line, so these are executed one by one. So I will type here my name. Okay, I will type here UiPath, and then I will do. Now if I run this automation, okay, now if you will see, if I run this automation, what will happen? It will print immediately, right? It has print immediately. Now what happen if I
Mm.
want to put some delay? I want small gap between these two activities. So as of now this is just a write line, but in the real world automation this can be a scenario where you want to type a name when the application is getting loaded. So for example, you are dealing with any company internal portal, and the portal is taking some time to load, and you have seen that okay, the time it takes to load is 5 minutes or 6 minutes or let's say 7 seconds anytime. So how can you put a delay between activities? UiPath has given us activity which is called delay. Okay, so if I
Mm.
just hover over it, what does it say? It puts a delay between the activities. So if I have to see it in working, what I will do is I will put a time here, right? So let me put now dot to string here. Okay, let me just put time. So first it will print the this first. Okay, next it will print the second, and then we are telling UiPath you just put a time also, now dot to string. Okay, so now this we are doing to see how exactly the delay works. Okay, now if I go and run the file, okay, the bot is executing, and if you will see, it has executed on 1600 seconds and 1600 milliseconds, right? Within millisecond this second element was printed. Can you see? This is the time,
Mm.
right? But now what happen if I want to put a delay of 3 seconds? So what will I do? I will use the delay activity, this guy. I will drag and drop it here, and in the properties, okay, in the delay and in the properties, this is the duration. So now this duration is in a form of time span. So it asks me, if you'll just hover, it says how long you want the activity to get pause, right? So let's say I want it to have for 3 seconds. So how I will not like, if I write 3, it will be for 3 hours because the syntax is different. So if I have to make it for 3 seconds, I would have to write like this: 00 colon 00 colon 03. So this is 3 seconds now. Okay,
Okay.
if I make it here 3, then it would be 3 minutes, then 3 hours and 3 days, like that. Okay, so 3 seconds means
Mm.
00 colon 00 colon 03. Now when we executed it for the first time without the delay activity, we have seen the time was, there was no
Um,
difference in seconds, right? So
mm.
let me just see, there is no difference. Now let us try to execute this, and I click on run the file. Okay, so it has completed. Now if I go to the output, what do you see? You tell me, what do you see?
Yeah, 1:57 and
Yeah,
2 p.m. That is 3 seconds difference.
right. So now what would happen if I just make this to 10? It will wait for, I will just make it to 5. Okay, so how do I write 05? Now if I make it for 5, so it will run for 5 seconds. Let us try, and I run the file. Okay, Let us just wait for the execution to complete it. Now if I go to the output, now you see it was 30 and now it is 35.
That
That
five.
means that we have put a delay of 5 seconds. Now do you
5
understand the
seconds.
concept of delay?
Yeah.
Okay, so now if you have seen in the UiPath Studio, there is something called snippet also. This one. You can easily
Mm,
go and use this one. So if you will see, UiPath has already provided some delays here. Okay. So if you want to put a delay of 5 seconds, you can always drag and drop it like this. Simple. Okay. So they have already written the code for delay. See, 5 seconds. We were writing, right?
mm,
So in the project under snippets, there is something, this one, you can use it.
okay.
Okay. So you can see also in your UiPath Studio, you would have seen this guys. Okay, so just try to use them. Let's say if you want to put a delay of 10 second, drag and drop. If you want a delay of 5 seconds, you can go to snippets and 300 milliseconds, or for any other you have to just come here and change the properties. Okay, so this is all about delay. So now do you understand the delay and the assign activity? Any questions?
Yeah, no.
Okay, let's go forward. Okay, do you understand loops?
Loops.
Yeah, the for, while, loop, do, while. You are from a
Yeah,
programming background,
do,
right?
yeah,
So
why
what do you
do I?
have you understood? Means, do you know, or you want me to tell you?
Why?
Hmm.
Uh, I didn't actually do it in details, but
Mm-hmm.
I know I did the why do I,
Yeah.
if else, and so on.
Okay. Let me tell you. So loop comes in picture when you have to iterate the same logic again and again. Okay. So for example,
Yeah.
if I tell you you have to print the number from 1 to 10, you have to print the numbers like this. Okay. What will you do?
Mm,
So I am telling in UiPath, you have to message box, first you have to have a message box one, then message box two, message box three, message box four, right? How can we have that? So what do we which activity should I have to get the message box? So I will use the message box, and if I just use it like this, it will give me one, right? If I just run the file, it will give me one. But now if I tell you that you have to write this for up to 1 to let's say 300, what should you do? Should you keep copying like this? Is it a good thing? What would you do?
no, no.
Right, so there should be something, right? Because if you will see, this is nothing but a kind of loop only. We are just iterating something one by one, and the logic is same. We have to just use the message box to print the count, right? For this thing
Uh,
only comes loops in picture. Okay, so there is something called loop. Okay, so how many kinds of loops we have in UiPath? So we will just talk about the do while, okay, while, and the for each. We will just talk about these loops. Okay, the do while and the for each. So what, with the help of the loops, what we can do is we can repeat the same logic again and again. But how, that we are going to see. Now if I just go, it is a plain canvas. Now if I go to the activities, and if I type here for, yeah, okay, so let's start with do while. Okay, so do while. Okay, so let me first start with do while. Okay, so do while is having two words. What are the two words? First one is the do and the second one is the while. Okay, let me just do it like this. Control C. I will open one more notepad. I think that would be great. Okay, notepad. So first we are going to see how exactly a do while works. So let me go here and increase the size. View format, font, I will increase it to 20. Okay, so do while means it is a kind of loop, and what we want to do is we want to just print, let's say, from number 1 to 4 5 to 10. Okay, so do while is having two blocks. The first block is the do, and the second block is the while. Okay, so if I tell you you have to do the job, okay, until you are 65. Okay, so this is a statement. Okay, you have to
mm.
do the job till you are 65. So do while come in picture when you have a condition, okay, and when you have a task. So for us, what is the condition here? Can you just tell me, if I have to print the number from 1 to 10, okay, what is the condition?
The condition is that it will keep
Mhm.
it will keep increasing by one.
Okay, so the condition is keep increasing by 1 till the time the count is less than 10, right? Or less than
Yes.
11, 11, right? And what you have to do, you
Mm.
have to just give a message box. Okay, you have to just give a message box with the number. Okay, so this is the actual work. Okay, this is the actual work which you have to do till this condition is satisfying. Simple, right? So print the number till the condition is the number is less than 11. So do while. Okay, so what should I put in the do? So as soon as I drag and drop a do while here, it is provided with a two, sorry, this is continue. If I drag and drop a do while, it is having two blocks, right? So what should I put in the body? So the body will be the, what is the job we want to do? What is the job? Message box, right? So what should I put in the body?
Message
Right,
box
message box, correct,
number.
right? And what is the condition? So you can see there is something called condition, right? And what is the condition for us? The condition is that the number should be less than 11, right? So but we don't have the number as of now, right? So what we will do is we will create a variable of kind integer. Okay, let me first create a variable of integer variable. I will call integer num. Okay, and it would be of type integer, and I will give it a value of 1. So default value is given to 1. Now you understand, right? What is this? We have discussed this. We have given the default value here. That means that whenever any automation will work with, it will give the value of 1 in the starting. Okay, now
Mm.
what is the condition? The condition is int num should be less than 11, right? So if
Mm-hmm.
int num is less than 11, what we want to do is we want to just print the number in the message box like this. Okay, so what would happen in this workflow? First it will come, okay, inside the do while. It will see, okay, what I have to do, it will print the number. Okay, so it will print what number? It will print in the beginning, first time.
Well, yeah.
What it should print in the message box?
It's the number one.
1, right? And now it will check the
Mm.
condition. If the condition is true, the 1 is less than 11 or not, the
Yeah.
condition is true, again it will come. And now we have not written a logic to increase the number, right? Again it will print 1. So let me go ahead and show it to you. If I go here and run the file, it will every time it will just give me 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1. Why? Because we have not told UiPath to, see, this is again going in an infinite loop. Okay, so I will just stop it. So this is an infinite loop. Okay, so because we are not incrementing the number, right? Because 1 will be always less than 11 and it will keep continuing, right? So now
Okay.
what I will do is I will just write how do I increment a number. So I will take an assign activity. I will say int num is equal to int num plus 1. Okay, now what do you think, what should happen? So first time,
When
so you can you tell me what would happen? So the first time the bot will come here in the body. Okay, what
mm,
it will print?
it will print one,
1.
then
Then
the assign activity will now add another one to it.
so the number value would be 2, right?
Two,
Then 2
and
would be compared
it
to
will
hmm,
it will continue that way until it gets to less than 11, which is 10.
right, 10. So then once the, let's say assuming that we are in 10, now what would happen? 10 and 10 plus 1, it will make it 11. So 11 is less than 11, it will say false. and it will come out of the loop, right? So
Mm.
when this loop will complete when this value is reaching to 10. Okay, let us save everything and try to run the flow. Okay, so what should happen? First it should give me 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 and then 10, and if I click OK, it will stop because the 11 is not less than 11, the condition false. So do while will get exit only when the condition is false. So do you understand do while now?
Yeah.
Now tell me what happens if I just put 5 here. How many times it will execute?
It will 4 times.
4 times. For which all number it will print?
One, two, three, four.
Okay, got it, right? So this
Mm.
was the do while. Okay, so now I hope you understand the do while. So I will just mark it as done. Now let us see the while activity. So do while has a brother. Okay, it has a same kind of activity which is called while. Okay, while. So now what do you think? What would happen now? What is the difference? So now if I just copy paste the same thing, control C, control V, and the condition here. Okay. So now this is which loop? This is the while loop, right? Now what do you think? What should happen here? What is the difference?
Mm.
Can you see it? I will just, the do while is done. Okay. Now in the do while, what was happening is first it was coming, right? This was the do while. It was printing the message box. Here it will first check the condition, then it will print the message box.
Okay. It's
You,
true. It's true. It's true. I remember.
you got the difference, right?
Mm.
So what happens in the do while, it first it check the in the sorry, now we have while, right? So in the do while,
Mm.
first it do the thing, right? Whatever it's given, it will just do it, and then it will check the condition. Okay, so
Mm.
if I just write it in the do while loop, what will happen? First it will do the thing, and first it will do the thing and then it will check the condition, right? We have seen this thing working here, right? So first it printed the message box and then it checked for the condition. Whereas in while loop, okay, whereas in while loop, it will first check the condition, okay, and then it will do.
Before the coaching.
Okay, so if this condition is not true, it won't execute anything. Okay, so
Mm.
what is the value of int num now? Int num is now 1. Okay, so 1 is less than 5, condition true or false?
True.
It will come. Okay, now what do you think? What values we will get here in this loop? You can just tell me. First it will come to while. Okay, it will compare
Mm.
the number 1 is less than 5, true or false?
True.
True. So it will print 1, right? Then it will increment
Mm.
the number by 1. Now the value is 2. 2 is less than 5, like that. Okay. So to differentiate, let me put we will say this is coming from the while loop and we will just append it with the while. Okay. So now if I just run the file, first it will check 1, okay, while 1, then while 2, while 3, while 4, and while 5. Okay, while 5 will not execute because 5 is not less than 5. Now if I see, this is a important question which you might receive in interview, that what is the difference between a while and a do while? Can you answer that for me, please?
Mm.
So what do you feel, what is the difference?
Is for the why it checks the condition
Yeah,
before
before executing anything,
executing.
right? So you can think of this
Yeah, before
automation where
executing.
and in the do while it will first do and then it will check. Now if we'll see,
Mm.
whatever condition you write in the do while, right, it will always execute at least once. Is that statement correct? So see, if the whether the condition is false or the condition is true, it will always execute once, because I will just uh, okay, enable. Okay, so this is the do while. In the do while, it is checking the condition after this is executed, right? So whatever you write here
Mm.
in the do while, it will at least execute once. Okay, so that is the thing. So do while will at least you understand, right? At least
Mm.
once, because it is doing first and then checking. So once it is doing, so whatever you write in the do block, that will execute at least once, that is for sure. Okay. Whereas in the while, it will not execute till the time this condition is true. Okay, this check.
Yeah.
So that is the main difference between a do while and a while. Okay, so that was about the while activity. This one, see why we are looking all this, because when we start with the automation, right, we will use this thing very frequently after
Yeah.
each and every activity. For writing the logics and all, we would use these activities. So if the basics are clear, then it would be very easy to get to the things. Okay, so after this
Okay.
class, we would be getting the things which are related to UiPath, more related to UiPath, like selectors, data scraping, login and all those stuffs. So but
Yeah.
for that, we must understand this thing. Now I think this activity, if activity, right?
Mm.
If activity, can you tell me what exactly the if activity does? So
If
if I
if
drag,
if activity.
yeah, this one, remember.
If activity, yes, that if it meets the condition,
Hmm.
that is the particular condition, then it should
Hmm.
execute. Else, it should go
Else,
the other way.
right? And similarly, the similar thing we have seen in the flow chart also, where it was a flow decision, right? So
Yeah.
right, so how this thing works? So let's say my variable is 1, and if I check here, if int num is less than 2, then you put do something, then you do this loop, and if it is not, do this loop, right? So you understand this condition. This is pretty simple,
Yeah.
that if, and this thing should be a boolean. I cannot write like this. If I cannot do anything like, I cannot just write str here. It won't work because it expects a boolean. So the result of this condition should be true or false, because the condition is a boolean. And what values
Mm.
we can have in boolean, we have seen in the variables one, right? So boolean can have only true or false. Okay, so
Mm.
now if I write a expression something like this, int num is less than 30, so the result will be either true or false, right? Can we have a third result with this condition?
No.
No, right? It will either be less
Mm.
than 30 or greater than 30, right? So this condition would be either true or either false. So that's why we are able to write this condition and it is not giving any error. But if I write here just like this, int num, right? So now int num can be anything, right? It can be true, it can be 4, it can be any number here. If I put 100, so that's why 100. So that's why what it is saying, it will say that I am not allowed to convert this thing to a boolean. I want a condition to validate. That's why I will tell him, okay, if you want condition, you just take this condition. Now this is a valid condition. Okay, and whatever we want to execute on the true block, that will come here, and else it will come in the false block. Let us just quickly, okay, run that. We will say a message box. If the number is true, we want to print true. Otherwise, we want to have a message box, control C, control V, and we want to say that this is false. Okay, now the number is less than 23. What should I get, true or false?
True.
This number is 100.
Mm.
So 100 is less than 23, true or false?
No, so not mind me. It's false.
Right, so let me just run the file and Okay, and it is false. And if I want to make it true, let's make it to 2300. Now it should give me true. Okay, I will go ahead and run the file and it will give me true, right? So these concepts are
Mm.
very much important when you do the automations or a big automation. So now I hope this thing is also clear, right?
Mm.
So we have seen assign, delay, do while and the effectivity. Okay, now there is one interesting one which is called the for each activity. Okay, this one. So do you remember for each we have used in one of the scenarios, array?
Yeah.
Do you remember array? What is an array?
An array is
Hmm.
a collection of it's a variable that has a value of same
Hmm. Right, right,
data
correct, right.
type.
So let's say
Mm.
when you say collection, so what do you mean by collection? A collection is a list of items. Okay, is a list of items basically. So a collection is like this is a collection, one, two, three, four. This is one collection. Okay, A,
Mm.
C, B, D. This is one collection, right? So now you have the folders. So if I just go to a folder, let's say C drive, right? So if I go to the computer
Mm.
C drive, so if I go to my computer, okay, let me show you. If I go to the C drive, right? So this is all are the folders, right? So if I
Yeah.
ask you what is
Mm.
the C drive, so you will say the C drive is a collection of all these folders, right?
Folders.
So it is not
Mm.
necessary that every time you would only get integer or the string or
String.
the names. You can get the other data type also. So what are the other data types? You can have a collection of folder, you can have a collection of images. So let's say in the in the pictures folder you will have a more lot of photos, so that photo is again a collection.
Collection.
Okay,
Okay.
you download some
Mm.
data from internet, you download 100 pdf, and those pdfs are in a folder. So what is that folder? That folder is a collection of pdf. Okay,
Yeah.
take one example. You have emails on your mailbox, right? So as of now, let's say you have 200 emails on your mailbox. So those 200 emails are a collection, or they are all of same type and are grouped together. So now you understand a collection, so it can be of any type. Okay, it can be string, it can be anything. But now if I want to iterate, so for example, if I have a collection where I have all the folder names. Okay, okay, so now let's do one automation where I want to get all the names of these folders. Okay, all the names of this folder in the C drive. Okay, so what would we do is in UiPath. Okay, let me quickly write one small automation and then you will get exactly what the for each is. It's an interesting one. I'll take an assign activity. Okay, okay, and I go here in the properties. Let me just write it. So I want to write directory dot get files and the okay, and I will create. Okay,
String.
okay, now
Mm-hmm.
what I am telling UiPath. Okay, so see, if you understand this, I am telling UiPath to get me all the folders which are available in the C drive. Okay, so now UiPath will go in my C drive and it will give me all these items, right? And what I am telling UiPath, that you store this thing in a variable. Now this is a variable, right? If I go to the variable,
Mm.
this is a variable. And what is the type of the variable? The type of the variable is string array. Now
Array.
if I just put a breakpoint here, let me just put a We'll keep this blank as of now. Let me just put a breakpoint and see what exactly we get this in variable. Okay, so if I just run this automation in the array folder name, okay, see, we are getting all the files. Okay, so okay, we are getting the files name. Sorry, we have used the, I have used the get file, so that keeps the file name actually. So to get the folder name, we have to change the code to get directory. Three dot get directories. Okay, now let me just debug the file. And so get files give you the list of files, and now it will give me all the folders, right? So if you will see, it is giving me C colon Windows C. And now if you will see, these all are folder, right? So this all
Mm-hmm.
is a collection now, right? So now I hope you understand what a collection is. So all these names are coming in the form of collection. Now what is a collection? Now what, collection can be everything, right? We just seen. So collection can be the folder name. So now I am getting all the folder names. So the folder names are coming one by one. First this name will come, then this, then this, then this, then this, right? Now if I want to print the name one by one, right, I want to print the names one by one in a message box. So there should be something to loop through it, right? Iterate. So my items are coming like this: folder 1, then folder 2, then folder 3, then folder 4. This like this I am getting, right? Now if I
Mm.
want to split this one by one, so what I have to do, I have to for each item in that collection. So what I will do is I will take an activity called for each. Okay, now as soon as I drag and drop it here, for each, you will see what are the properties for each. If I go to the properties, what does it says? It says that in which collection. So what is my collection name? String folder types, right? Now if I
Mm.
go to the properties, what type of value is available in the folder name? The folder name are in the type of string,
String.
right? So what I am telling,
Mm.
that you iterate each and every item. And what do you want to do? You want to have the message box, and in the message box we want to print item dot to string. That will also take. Okay, now let me just help you to understand this code. I will put a debugger here. Okay, see this carefully. Okay, see, for each is very important. So I will put a debugger here. In the folder names, I will get all the names from the folder, right? So if you will see, I have got 16 items now. Can you see? Because computer is taking the, the hidden items also, so which are not hidden, so it is able to get. Okay, so now the first item is C recycle bin, the second item is this guy, the third item is
Mm-hmm.
this. Now if I go inside this loop, what is the value of the item now? So the item will be now the first folder.
Mm-hmm.
And if I print, it will give that item in the message box. Now if I just printed, now it will not come outside of this for each loop till the time all the items are completed in this. Okay, so I don't have to write the count, I don't have to write the logic, it will just execute till the time all the items are completed. See, now the first time the item was this, now the next time the item would be recycle bin. Okay, I go here, it will now print the recycle bin. Now the second item, now the third item it will print. So as of now it is this. Now as soon as I come out of the body, it will print, it will get the next item from the list. So the next item is this guy, see document setting, and it will print, right? So this is how the for each works. Okay, so let me do one thing. uh, this was a string array. Okay, to better understand, what we will do is we will just get this thing a default value of a b c d. Like the first element would be a, the next element would be b, and the next element would be c. Okay, and let me just delete this. So now what would happen, it will take, what would be the value of the item when it run for the first time? So it will take each item one by one, right? So the first, what do you see here? We don't see the item value here, right? Because it has not
Mm.
started the loop. Now if I click on step into, now the item is set to A, because it has take the first element. Now it will just print the message to the message box. Item is still A. Okay, now this item, if you will see, it has still not changed to B, because we are still inside the body. So as soon as I go outside the body, it will change the item to the B, and it will execute how many times? Three times, because we
Sometimes.
only have three items. And how do I know? Because it's a string of three, right? A, B, and C. If we have four, this is four. So see, what is the benefit? I don't have to write the count logic, the less than, equal to. I can just use a for each, and this does the job for me, right? So if I have to write a automation, okay, where exactly this scenario will come in picture? If I if you have a automation where you have, let's say, 10 departments in the 10 departments in your company, okay, and you have to automate it only for the 5 departments, right? So you have to do the same logic for every department. So what we will do for this 5 department, you will create a collection, okay, and then you will use a for each loop, okay. You will loop for each loop on this collection, and then you will do the same logic for each and every department, right? So as of now we were just using message box. Here it would be a complex logic, okay, complex logic for business. You get this? Should we use the for each? Hello?
Yeah, hello, I'm with you.
Okay, so do you understand when should we use the for each?
For each, yes.
Yes. So whenever you are having an automation, let's say you have to do the same task for 5 departments of your company. Okay, so you will create a
Mm.
collection for the 5 department. You will use for each on the collection, and then you will write the logic inside the for each. Same like this. So for each, all the items in the department do something. So as of now, it is message box. Now this can be a more complex business scenarios. Okay. So that was
Yeah,
about, which guy?
for
Okay,
each.
okay. So I think I just uh closed that one. Okay. Okay. I closed that one. Okay. So the last item which we wanted to discuss was the break. Okay. So the see, this loop is executing, right? What is a break? So what do you understand? What do you mean? What do you think a break should be?
Mm, a break like a demarcation or something like.
Hmm. So, how do you print a number from 1 to 10? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? So, we use a loop, right? We use a loop,
Mm.
correct? Now, if I tell you that you have to stop the loop whenever you find the number 4, okay? You don't have to look whenever you find this number. You have to break here. So what we want to do is we would have number from 1 to 10, okay, and if we are getting 4, we want to break the loop. We don't want to go to 5, right? So if I am using a do while loop, let's say I will quickly write the do while loop now. Okay, in the do while loop, what we want to do is we want to have a message box. In the message box, we want to print the number. So the number default value is, let's say, 1, and I will just put here int num dot toString, and then we want to increment the number. So same like way we did, we will put here int num is equals to integer of num plus 1, like this, and the condition would be int num should be less than 100. Okay, now what will happen if I run this automation? It will execute how many times?
It was a good less than like it should 99 times.
99 times, right? Because this, but now I am telling you that okay, you have to do the automation whenever you find a 4, okay. You don't need to go from 5 to 99. Okay, you don't need to do all this automation. You just stop and stop the process, right? So how will you do it? Because if you will see this, right, it will continue working, right? So if I just run the file, it will keep continue executing. Like first it will say 1, then it will say 2, then 3 and 4. Now if I click on okay, it will 5, right? So how do I stop this, right? There is no break here. So right, I cannot break this loop, right, because it is not available. So UiPath has provided an activity which is called, which activity? Now can you tell me what would be the activity? The activity would be break. Okay,
Yeah.
so if I go to the activities, there would be an activity called break. Now what would this activity do? This activity will break the flow. Now what is the condition I want to do? So I will just put a if condition, right? I will say if the number you are telling is equal to 4, you have to break it, otherwise you just continue. Do you understand this?
Yeah.
Right, so let me just go ahead and run the file. Okay, first it will say 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, it till 3 it run, because 0 it's starting from the 1, right? So if I want it to run 4, so now you get it, right? So first the value for num of 1 was 1, it went to 2, then 3, and then it 4, and then it break the automation. It didn't went to 100. But if I just remove this break, now it will continue executing till 100. So do you understand break now?
Yeah.
This activity break. So this break will get used whenever you are looping something, right? So where, which all activity will use for loop? So do while, I can use it in do while, I can use it in while, I can use it in for each also, right? Because for each is also a kind of loop. But if I just attempt to use the break somewhere here, like this, right, what they say, can you see what does the error says?
Activity can only be placed inside the longer activity.
Loop activity, right? Because what should we, because it is logical, right? What do you want to break? There is no loop running, right? So you have to use the break activity only inside the loops. Okay, so that is a must, otherwise you will get an error. So this was a loop, that's why we didn't get any error. And this do not have any properties, anything, because it is just going to break the flow, so it does not require any properties. Okay,
Yeah.
got it?
Yeah.
Okay, so now I will wrap up this session here. So a homework for you, you just go to Google Chrome or any of the browser for that matter, type here control flow activities in UiPath. Okay,
Okay.
go to the first
Mm.
link, control flow activities, and you will see all the things which we discussed, and most of the things you would be knowing right now, right? Assign, do
Okay.
while, break. So if you'll go here, you will see the example also, right? See,
Okay.
it is using the
Mm.
break activity here. Why? Because it is a loop, right? It is using which item? For each, right? It is using a for each, and now it is using break because it is a loop, right? So you just go here and read about these activities. Okay, and then we meet next week to discuss something on the more complex logics now, right? So before that, I would expect you to understand the control flows clearly, so that way you would be able to get the things when we exactly start the actual automations. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
I will just ping the link in the chat section, so you can give it, or you can always go to docs.uipath.com like this, and you can just read about the control flow
Mm.
activities. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, then let's meet next week or sometime in the mid of next week.